Hi boys and girls, today we're going to be experimenting with a printing technique that is called mono printing, meaning you only get one each time and you have to redo it every time. We're going to use the back side of a plate, a foam plate, and we're going to be painting our design onto the plate. Okay, you're going to probably want to do an abstract design because it's when it prints it's a little it kind of blurs it a little bit, but so you're just going to take your paint and paint your design on there. You could try to do something realistic if you wanted to, but you're going to see when I print this that it's not going to look as realistic. Okay, I'm ready to switch to another color, and I've got a lot of this lavender on my brush, so I don't want you to just stick that in another color. I want you to wipe it as best you can on your paper towel, or I might have just a piece of scratch paper for you to wipe it on. And then you're going to dip into another color and dot, 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 or design however you think it'll look best. You do kind of have to work quickly with this, or make sure you have enough paint, because the paint, if you do a really thin layer of paint, it'll dry on here. Now I want to switch colors here. I'm almost ready, so I'm going to just dot as much of this off as I can, and then I'm going to wipe the rest on my paper towel or on that scratch piece of paper we talked about. You're going to be printing on black paper and white paper. You get to do 4 prints. If you are going to print on white paper, you don't want to use the white paint, right? But if you're going to print on black paper, the white paint will make everything really pop out. So I might start with my black paper, and I noticed that I didn't tell you the very first step. What do we need to have on here before we even start putting paint on there? Yeah, I hope you said your name and class code. You want to have your name and class code on all 4 pieces of paper before you put paint on your plate, because now my paint is drying on there and I'm not ready to print at all, am I? This should happen first before you even start painting. Okay, now I'm thinking about this as kind of darker color, so I think I'm going to do the light. I'm going to do on white, so I'm not going to use the white paint. And I know that green and purple will I'm going to do a little bit of this. Green and purple will turn into a brown, so I'm going to keep this green away from my purple, because anything across from the other color on the color wheel, it'll make brown. Okay, so also green and red, they're directly across, right? Green and red are directly across, so if I put the green and red together, that's not going to be a good fit either. I'm going to put this near my purples and my blues, because I know it'll do well there. Now that one's going to be, might turn a little bit brownish right there. Okay, now the other thing you can do here, I guess I wanted to show you this. If you just smear the color on in a solid space, you can use a Q-tip to remove some of that. So maybe I want to make some lines in here that don't show up. I can actually remove a little bit like this. Now I'm ready to take my print. So I'm going to lay this right on top, and then I'm going to give it a massage, but I don't want to give it a massage where I smear it around. I want to just press on it. So I'm going to put it down, press. I want to be sure all of the paint is touching, but I don't want my paper to move around on there, because that'll smear my print, right? So make sure, even in the middle where I can feel my plate pushing down, be careful you don't wreck your plate, right? You only get one plate. If you crush it, that's what you're using, and they should not be smashed too hard. Okay, I think I'm ready to pull it up. Ooh, that's pretty. Now I had so much paint on there that it didn't show my line, so I'm going to try it one more time here. I'm just going to leave it with the amount of paint, and this is kind of a fun thing you can do. You can do it once with a lot of paint, then try it again with less paint, so you can see what happens when you don't have quite that much. Because when I was doing this, I smeared the paint right into those open spaces that I had created. So let's see what happens on the second print. We'll call this the ghost print. Should be very similar, but not the same. Oh, cool. Okay, so this one you can definitely see my lines, and you can see some texture in there, which is kind of cool, of where I pulled it off of the printing plate. So similar, but not the same. All right, now I'm ready to try my black. I think you're gonna just go with whatever you have on there already. So I've already got some colors on there, but I'm gonna add some white to this. So I definitely need to clean this brush off as best I can. As long as I don't stir in the white and I just dip it in there and out, it won't be a problem. But if you stir it into your white, is that going to mess up the white for everyone after you? Yes, it is. I think I'm just going to put a bunch of white on here and then put colors into the white. All right, there's that. I'm going to wipe that off because I'm going into another color. I'm going to try one. Well, let's see. I'm doing it on black paper. This probably won't show up, so I better make sure it gets mixed with the white. Ooh, I don't like that. That dark purple is just too dark. I'm going to get a lighter color. Remember, if you're painting on the black, you want it to be lighter. But I've noticed that just light doesn't mean anything. Light with white seems to be better. I'm going to add more white in here. You'll have to experiment with it, see what you come up with. Mrs. Walker felt like when I did it the last time that if I didn't have enough white, then it wasn't a good print color for me. I'm going to do a little bit of orangey. These are just kind of fun to see what kind of design, because it kind of changes when you smush it down. It kind of changes the design a little bit. A little bit of that in there. All right. One more bit of white around the outside maybe. Okay. I'm ready to take my print. Make sure your name side is up. If I can see my name. Lay it down. Ooh, that one moved around a little bit, so I know this is going to be blurry. Ooh, but I love it. Isn't that pretty? I wonder if we could take and make a design in it right now. What if I made a heart in there? Oh, you can. So before it dries, you could draw a design into your print. That's cool. What about this one? This one's almost dry. Yeah, it's almost too dry. Because I had paint on my thing, I could kind of smear a little bit, but maybe right when you pull it off, if you want to draw a design, that might be the direction to do it. Now I'm going to take the last print here and see how I do it. Make sure my name is up. Capture the last of that. Not only does this make a print, but it cleans it off for the next person, doesn't it? So your last print. Oops. Cool. Okay, there we go. Now when you are all done, we're going to rinse these off in the sink. Foam washes off really good. If you've been gentle with your plate, it still looks just like when I gave it to you, and that's what I'm expecting. You'll want to wash your brush out too. When you're in the sink washing your brush out, you want to make sure that your hand is underwater and you're kind of moving the bristles around under the water to get all that paint that's in there. And then you're going to put these with the bristles up to dry, okay? Or if we're running short on time, I'll probably just have you put these in a little dish of water to soak, and Mrs. Walker will clean them. Okay, your paper towel goes in the garbage. If we did this on a piece of paper, scratch paper, sometimes I do that and we save it because it's painted paper and it looks pretty cool. It's something that we can use for another project. So depending on that, I'll give you a direction on that so you know what to do.